What if God is not silent and never was? What if the reason you can't hear him has nothing to do with him and everything to do with where you're looking? Think about that for a second. What if he is already there, right in the middle of what you're going through, right in the place you're trying to escape, and you just don't recognize it yet? Because sometimes, what feels like chaos is actually something you don't understand yet. Imagine this, it's the middle of the night. Everything felt normal just moments ago. Nothing seemed wrong, nothing felt dangerous. And then, something shifts. The wind rises, the water begins to move. Slow at first, but enough to make you notice. And then suddenly, you realize this is not small. This is not normal anymore. The waves hit harder. The wind gets louder, the boat begins to shake, and before you even understand what's happening, fear hits you. Not small fear, real fear. The kind that tightens your chest, that makes your thoughts race, that makes one thing painfully clear. You are not in control anymore. You try to stay calm. You tell yourself it will pass. You try to believe it will be fine, but it doesn't slow down. It gets worse, faster, louder, stronger, and then it hits you. This is bigger than you, way bigger than you. And maybe you've felt that before, not on the seas, but in your life. Everything was fine, and until suddenly, it wasn't. Things started falling apart. Problems came all at once, and no matter what you tried, nothing worked. You kept going. You stayed strong. You tried to fix it alone, and deep down you knew this one was too much. And the hardest part was not just the storm. It was the feeling that you were facing it alone. Because when everything falls apart, what you want most is not answers. It's presence. Someone there. Someone real. But instead, you feel silence. And that silence is what makes everything heavier, because it makes you ask, where is God? Does he see this? Does he even care? And this is where everything begins to change. The storm doesn't slow down. It gets worse. The waves keep crashing harder, and the wind grows louder with every second. The boat is starting to fill with water, and everyone is moving, trying to keep it together. But nothing is working. No matter how hard they try, the situation keeps getting worse. And in that moment, something shifts inside them. It's no longer just stress or concern. It becomes fear. Real fear. The kind that makes you feel like you might not survive this. These weren't weak men. They were experienced fishermen who knew the sea well. They had faced storms before and understood danger. But this storm felt different. It was too strong, too sudden, too overwhelming. It wasn't something they could control or predict. And for the first time, they realized something terrifying. This might be the storm that takes them down. This wasn't just another difficult moment. This was something that could end everything. So they begin to look around, searching for anything that could help them. Someone who could take control, someone who could fix what is happening. Their eyes move quickly, full of fear and urgency. And then, they see him. In the middle of all the chaos, when everything is shaking and falling apart, they notice something completely unexpected. Something that doesn't match the situation at all. And that moment changes everything. Jesus is sleeping. While the storm is raging, while the waves are hitting the boat, while water is filling everything around them, he is asleep, not worried, not reacting, not even awake. In a moment where everyone is panicking, he is completely calm. And that contrast is shocking. It doesn't make sense to them. How can someone be at peace when everything around them is falling apart? That silence feels confusing and almost unbearable. Think about that moment. Everything feels out of control, and yet he is calm. Not stressed, not afraid, not rushing to fix anything, just resting, just still. And that creates a question in their minds. Because when you are afraid, you expect urgency, you expect action, you expect movement. But instead, all they see is stillness. And that stillness begins to frustrate them because it feels like nothing is being done. And that confusion quickly turns into something deeper. When you are already overwhelmed, calmness can feel like indifference. When you are desperate, silence can feel like distance. They don't see peace, they see a lack of response. And that makes everything worse. Because now it's not just the storm outside, it's the question inside their hearts. Does he even care about what is happening right now? So they wake him up, not gently, not calmly, but with urgency and fear. Their voices carry frustration, confusion, and desperation all at once. They are not just asking for help, they are demanding an answer. Because in that moment, they cannot understand what they are seeing. They cannot understand why he is not reacting. And that pressure pushes them to say something they might not have said otherwise. Teacher, don't you care that we are going to drown? That question comes from fear, not from logic. It comes from pressure, not from clarity. It is the kind of question people ask when they feel overwhelmed, when everything seems to be falling apart and nothing makes sense anymore. It is not just about the storm. It is about what they believe in that moment, that maybe they have been left alone. And maybe you understand that feeling. Maybe you have had a moment where things didn't make sense, where everything felt too heavy and nothing was changing. Maybe you didn't say it out loud, but deep inside you asked the same question. God, do you even care? Because when the situation doesn't change, it is easy to believe that no one is listening, that no one is there. And that is what makes this moment so powerful. Because what happens next is not just about the storm. It is about the way God responds when people are afraid, when they are overwhelmed, and when they begin to question everything. Jesus doesn't react the way people expect. He doesn't panic, he doesn't rush. And that calm response is about to reveal something they will never forget. Jesus wakes up. Not suddenly, not in panic, not confused like everyone else. He stands up slowly, steady, completely aware of what is happening. The wind is still loud, the waves are still crashing, the boat is still filling with water, but none of that seems to affect him. There is no fear in his movement, no urgency in his reaction, just calm, just control. And in that moment, everything feels different. Everyone is watching him now, not moving, not speaking, waiting. Because when someone stays calm in chaos, it changes everything. It draws attention. It creates a strange kind of silence, even when the storm is still raging. They don't know what he is about to do, but they know this moment matters. Because something about him feels different. Something about his presence feels stronger than the storm itself. Then he looks at the storm, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with authority, as if the wind and the waves are not out of control, but simply waiting for a word, waiting for a command. And in that moment, you realize something. This is not just a man reacting to danger. This is someone who has power over it, someone who is not under the storm, but above it. And then he speaks. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a simple command. Peace, be still. No long explanation, no complicated words, just a few quiet syllables. But those words carry something more than sound. They carry authority, they carry power. And the moment those words leave his mouth, everything begins to change. The wind stops, not slowly, not gradually, but immediately. The waves calm down, the chaos disappears, the noise fades, And in just a moment, what felt impossible becomes real. The storm that no one could control is gone. Completely. As if it was never there. The sea becomes still. The air becomes quiet. And for the first time, there is peace. And that silence feels overwhelming. Not because it is empty, but because it is full of something they cannot explain. Just moments ago, they were sure they were going to die. And now, everything is calm. Nothing makes sense. Nothing feels logical. Because what just happened goes beyond anything they have ever seen before. Then Jesus turns to them, not angry, not harsh, but serious, and he asks a simple question: why are you so afraid? Not because the storm wasn't real, not because the danger didn't exist, but because they had forgotten something important, something that was right in front of them the entire time. They were not alone. He was with them the whole time, in the boat, in the storm, in the fear. But they only focused on the waves. They only looked at the problem. They forgot who was standing right beside them. And that is what fear does. It makes you see the storm, but forget the one who controls it. And maybe that is what happens to you too. When life gets overwhelming, when pressure builds, when everything feels out of control, you focus on the storm, on the problem, on the fear, and slowly, you forget that God is still there, still present, still in control, even when everything around you says otherwise. Because the truth is, the storm didn't stop because they were strong. It didn't stop because they tried harder. It stopped because He spoke. And what you're about to understand next might change the way you see your situation, your fear, and even your faith from this moment on. Maybe this is what you needed to hear today. Not a loud answer, not a miracle, not something overwhelming, just a quiet reminder that even in the middle of chaos, even when everything feels out of control, He is still there. Not distant, not ignoring you, not silent in the way you think, just present. And sometimes that is enough to keep you standing when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Because the storm didn't stop because you were strong. It didn't calm down because you tried harder or because you figured everything out. It stopped because He spoke. And if He had the power to bring peace into that moment, then He still has the power to bring peace into yours. Not always when you want it, not always how you expect it, but always in the way you truly need. So maybe, instead of trying to control everything, instead of fighting every wave, instead of exhausting yourself trying to fix what feels impossible, you just need to pause. Just for a moment, breathe, slow down, and remember who is in the boat with you. Because when you remember that, something begins to shift. Not outside first, but inside. And sometimes, that's where everything changes. And if something in this moment felt real to you, even just a little, don't ignore it. Don't scroll past it like it means nothing. Because moments like this don't just happen randomly. Sometimes, a message finds you exactly when your heart is ready to hear it. Not earlier, not later, right now. And maybe this is one of those moments. So don't rush away from this feeling. Stay with it. Just a little longer, let it settle, let it speak. Because there will be moments again when everything feels heavy, when your thoughts get loud, when the pressure comes back. And in that moment, you will need something real to hold on to. Something steady, something that doesn't move, even when everything else does. Because peace doesn't always come from everything changing around you. Sometimes, it comes from realizing you are not alone in it. That even when nothing makes sense, even when answers don't come right away. He is still there, still present, still in control, in ways you cannot always see, and that changes how you face everything. And if this stayed with you, even just a little, you already know what to do, not because someone told you, but because something inside you recognized it. So don't lose that. Stay connected to it. Come back to it when you need it, because this wasn't just something you watched. This was something you felt, and that matters more than you think. So before you leave, before you move on, just take 1 second, breathe. Let everything slow down, because not everything needs to be fixed today. Not everything needs an answer right now. Sometimes just being here, just listening, is already part of something bigger than you understand. And maybe this is where it begins, quietly, slowly, but real.